Namaste. Welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. V. Premalata, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Performing Arts, Sri Venkateshwara University, Tirupati. This is a module on the famous musicians of South India 2 in the paper Indian Aesthetics and Fine Arts under the subject Indian Culture. Earlier we had another module, Famous Musicians of South India 1, in which we dealt with some of the great musicians of South Indian classical music who were vocalists. This module will deal with some of the famous musicians of South Indian classical music who were great instrumentalists, that is, they were exponents or great masters of some of the classical music instruments. So, in this module, we would know a short biographical sketch and achievements of some eminent instrumentalists of Karnataka classical music, and also we would know the great personalities who were monumental in bringing the glory of the art to the world through their performances. First, let us start with Veena Seshanna. Veena Seshanna was born in Mysore in the year 1852. He belonged to a family of musicians. His father was Chikkaramappa. He was a Vainika. Vainika means a Veena player in the court of the Mysore Maharaja. He is said to be the descendant of Pachimiriam Adiyappaya. He is a noted composer of Karnataka music. Seshanna learned from Mysore Sadasiva Rao and Veena Venkata Subbaiah. Later he was appointed as the court musician in the Mysore Royal Court. Veena Seshanna was able to play other musical instruments as well, like violin, piano and jalataranga. Veena Seshanna is said to be the founder of the Mysore style of Veena playing. At this time we have to understand that there are different styles of Veena playing, like the Karaikudi style, the Tanjore style, the Mysore style and the Andhra style. And each of these styles have a specific kind of fingering technique, specific posture of holding the instrument and a specific kind of playing different gamakas and producing music on the instrument. In this background, we come to know that Veena Seshanna was the founder of the Mysore style of Veena playing, and many people have followed this style. Veena Seshanna had composed 53 compositions like Swarajatis, Padas, Javalis and Tillanas. Let us look at Veena Venkataramana Das. Veena Venkataramana Das was born in 1866 to Chinna Gururaya Charyulu and Lakshmi Narsamma in Andhra Pradesh. He followed the tradition of holding the Veena in a vertical position, which you saw in the previous picture. Veena Venkataramana Das also wrote a book called Veena Rahasya Prakashika in Telugu and published in 1912. He was a great performer on Veena, and Lord Curzon was fascinated by his Veena performance, and he praised and presented him with a pair of bracelets set in rubies. This is a story that we hear about Veena Venkataramana Das. Veena Dhanammal is the most famous woman musician, the Veena artist. She was born in a family of musicians and dancers. She belongs to the Sishya Parampara of Shyama Shastri and Muthuswami Dikshita. Her mother and grandmother, they all learnt from. They were direct disciples of Shyama Shastri and Muthuswami Dikshita tradition. Veena Dhanammal music is so valuable, and it is even today it is given a kind of authenticity and authority. She learned padams from Valajapet Balakrishna Das, who was a blind musician. Her style is still regarded as a measure in terms of traditional values and expression. It is said that Veena Dhanammal used to play without any accompaniments, like she would not prefer to have a mridangam or a kanjira or ghatam when she plays Veena. Instead, she used to sing along with her instrument when she plays the Veena. Now, let us listen to a small clipping of Veena Dhanammal in the Raga Shankarabharana, where you can see that she sings along with her instrument. Veena Dhanammal is said to have learnt more than 1,000 compositions. As I said, she is an authority of a good musical tradition. Many composers like Dharmapuri Subbaraya, Tiruvattiur Tyagayar, of whom we speak of very great now, they were all associated with her. And it is also said that musicians, critics and composers, they attended her private recitals in Chennai. The famous Bharatanatyam dancer Bala Saraswati, T. Vishwanathan, flautist, they are her grandchildren. Instrumentalist that we are learning about today is Sharaba Sastri, who was a great flute artist. He was born in 1872 to Sri Vishwanatha Shastri and Dharmambal. His mother's native place was Tiruvadi, where she lived next door to Saint Tyagaraja. Sharaba Shastri lost his father at a very early age, and his mother initiated her blind son into music. Thus we understand that Sharaba Shastri was blind. He learned to play flute from Sri Govinda Nayakar, and then he became a genius. He experimented and evolved a fingering technique by which he could produce all Indian ragas. He found some unique technique of flute playing, which we call today the tutukarams. He was called as Ekasantagrahi, means just you tell him once, he would grasp. He has got that ability. But unfortunately, he died at a very young age of 32 years. Sangameshwara Shastri is a famous veena player of Andhra Pradesh. He was born in Bobili in the year 1873. He first learnt music from Venkanna. He was both a vocalist and a veena player. He too used to hold the veena in a vertical position. He used to practice music incessantly, a Veyi Sadaka, 1,000 times. He was said to be a very good teacher, and there are also stories that he used to practice and make his students also to practice music on veena for hours together, even during night. They would start practicing by 10:30 or 11, and that practice session would go till 4 in the morning. And 1,000 times, at least to 1,00,000 times they used to practice in all 3 speeds, so that they get good hold of the playing on the veena. He was a good teacher, and Rabindranath Tagore was fascinated by him. He sent 2 of his students to go and learn from Sangameshwara Shastri. This is also a story that we learn from great masters who had written a book on Sangameshwara Shastri. He has composed Tanavarnams and Kritis. Pudukkottai Dakshinamurthy Pillai was an eminent Mridangam artist. He was a leading artist of South Indian music, a chief disciple of Pudukkottai Mammudiya Pillai. And Dakshinamurthy Pillai is the main representative of the Pudukkottai school of percussion. Dakshinamurthy Pillai also used to play Kanjira, and he is said to have served in the army for 3 years. His pupils include Palani Subramanyam Pillai, Tanjavur Ramadas, Devakottai Sundarraj and Tangavelu Pillai. Dakshinamurthy Pillai has nurtured many great musicians like Kanchipuram Naina Pillai, M.S. Subbalakshmi, Chembai Vaidyanatha Bhagavatar, Alathur brothers and many great musicians. He has given a good training to them too. Now let us see about a famous violinist, Mysore T. Chaudhaya. Chaudhaya was born in the year 1892 near Mysore, and he was under the training of Bidaram Krishnappa till 1910. He brought a great revolution in introducing the 7-stringed violin. As you know, violin has normally 4 strings, and Chaudhaya's violin had 7 strings. Many contemporary singers used to request the Sabha people when they are arranging for some concerts that they require Chaudaya to accompany them, and it included even GNB and many other great stalwarts. Chaudaya encouraged his disciples and gave them good opportunities to perform on stage. He founded the INR College of Music in Mysore. Chaudaya has also composed nearly 50 compositions in Sanskrit and Kannada, which include Varnas, Kirtanas and Tilanas. Now, let's just listen to a small audio clip of Chaudaya playing on his violin. The next eminent violinist of South Indian classical music is Dwaram Venkataswamy Naidu. He was also a partially blind artist. He was born in Bangalore in the year 1893. He is a notable violinist of South India. He was first appointed as professor of violin in the Maharaja's Music College at Vijayanagaram at the age of 26, and later he became the principal of the college. Dwaram Venkataswamy Naidu was known for his extremely well-developed soft bowing technique combined with a firm fingering technique. It's a rare combination of a violin playing. And Venkataswamy Naidu had many disciples. The notable are his own daughter Dwaram Mangatayaru, Ghantasala, Radha Narayanan and many others. Now we will listen to a small clipping of Dwaram Venkataswamy Naidu playing the violin. The next artist about whom we are now going to learn is Needamangalam Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai. He is a great Tawil artist. Tawil is a percussion instrument which is mainly used as an accompaniment for Nagaswaram. Needamangalam Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai was born in the year 1894. He learnt Tawil under his maternal uncle Singaram Pillai right from the age of 5. Later he learnt from Venugopala Pillai, who shaped him into a Tawil genius. Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai had accompanied Nagaswaram maestros like Mannargudi Chinnapakiri at a very young age itself. He was also influenced by many great stalwarts. He is known for his timing, and his handling of the syllables on the Tawil instrument was excellent. The next great mridangist of South Indian classical music is Tanjavur Vaidyanath Iyer. He was born near Vayacheri in Tanjore district in the year 1897. He learnt mridangam from Tanjavur Das Swamigal, Kannuswamy Nattuvanar and K. Ponnaiya Pillai. He has served in the state broadcasting radio station in Trivandrum. Tanjavur Vaidyanath Iyer was called as a kingmaker in the field of mridangam playing. Many of his disciples are legends, and they have become kings of the Carnatic classical art music like Palghat Mani Iyer, T.K. Murthy, Umayalpuram K. Shivaram. Umayalpuram Shivaram and T.K. Murthy are still living with us, producing and proving themselves as great masters of mridangam. Vaidyanath Iyer had specialized in accompanying techniques. For instance, playing a solo called the Taniyavartanam is a different art. Accompanying great musicians on the mridangam along while they are singing the kritis or the tilanas or javalis or any other musical items, it requires special skills that they do not dominate, but they give proper support to the vocalist. And Tanjore Vaidyanathan was an excellent and a specialist in doing so. The great Nadaswaram Vidwan, or the artist of South Indian classical music, is T.N. Rajaratnam Pillai. He was born in 1898 in Tanjore district. He initially learnt music from his uncle Kadiresan Pillai. Then he came under the tutelage of Tirukkodikkaval Krishnaiyer and later from Amma Chatram Kannuswamy Pillai. Rajaratnam Pillai's debut performance was at Madras in the year 1919, and Rajaratnam Pillai brought in several innovations that he introduced tambura as a drone instrument in his concerts. We should understand that usually in a Nagaswaram concert, there used to be another accompanist who plays not the Nagaswaram, a similar instrument called as the Ottu. We also find the harmonium or a Shruti box, which is used as a drone instrument. And in Rajaratnam Pillai's concerts, we came to know that he also introduced tambura as one of the drone instruments in his concerts. There are two types of Nadaswaram, the Beri and the Timiri, and he introduced the Timiri variety of Nagaswaram. He was also the first musician to sit down and play this Nagaswaram, because Nagaswaram was mainly used in temples, and they used to follow, or they used to first walk through the Mada streets or the places where the god is brought in for a kind of a chariot, or wherever god is being brought out. So the Nadaswaram artist used to go in front of them playing the Nadaswaram, and there is no opportunity for them to sit and do. But when it comes to a concert, they sit and play the instrument, and Rajaratnam Pillai had started that tradition of sitting down and playing the instrument. The next musician about whom we are going to see is Narayana Iyengar on the Gotu Vadyam. Narayana Iyengar was born in the year 1903 near Tirunelveli in Tamil Nadu. He learned from Kodaganallur Subbayya Bhagavatar and then from Thiruvidai Marudur Shakarama Rao. Narayana Iyengar performed in many prestigious events like the 42nd Indian National Congress meet held at Chennai in the year 1927. He was an A-top artist of the All India Radio since its inception and has performed in many of the national programs of music. He was a Gotu Vadyam player, and he was giving a live concert for All India Radio, and he is meant for introducing many special techniques and playing methods on the instruments. And soon after playing for the All India Radio, he collapsed on the studios of AIR in the year 1959. His grandson is Ravi Kiran, a child prodigy, who is also an expert on Gotu Vadyam. Next, we will learn about Palani Subramaniam Pillai, who was a great mridangist of 19th century. Subramaniam Pillai was born in the year 1908. He learnt mridangam from his father, Muttaiya Pillai. At a very young age, Subramaniam Pillai started accompanying great masters. He encouraged a number of vocalists and instrumentalists. He never indulged in exhibitionism, and his only aim was to enhance the total appeal of the concert. He was also a kanjira player and a wonderful teacher. Palani Subramaniam Pillai had many disciples, and they are all distinguished artists. And he is the main founder of the Palani school of mridangam playing. Again, I would like to tell you that the Palani school, the Tanjore school, these are all the different kind of styles of playing the instrument. And he is the main maker of the Palani school, and it is now represented throughout India and also abroad. We will just listen to a small clipping of Palani Subramaniam Pillai playing the mridangam, which is available over the internet, made available by one of his students. The next eminent musician and a Veena artist about whom we are going to learn is Mysore Duraiswamy Iyengar. He was born in the year 1920. He started learning Veena from his father Venkatesha Iyengar. He soon became the disciple of Veena Venkatagiriyappa. He gave his first public performance in the year 1943. Duraiswamy Iyengar had performed at many places and received many awards. He was the music director of the All India Radio, Bangalore. The Mysore University had conferred an honorary doctorate on him. He has also composed music and acted in a few Kannada films. One of the eminent Nagaswaram artists of South Indian classical music is Karukuruchi Arunachalam. He was born in the year 1921. He learnt Nagaswaram from Kattumalli Subbayya Kambar and Okal from Kalakkad Subbayya Bhagavatar and his son. Later Arunachalam did Gurukula Vasa with the legendary T.N. Rajaratnam Pillai for a long time and learned the nuances. A little before, we learnt about T.N. Rajaratnam Pillai, who was a great innovator of the Nadaswaram playing, and this person, Karukuruchi Arunachalam, became a disciple of T.N. Rajaratnam Pillai. He underwent Gurukula Vasa, that is, he stayed in his house itself to learn all intricacies of music and the instrument playing and became a genius. On account of his career, he left his native place and settled down at Kovilpatti. His brilliance in the performance kept the audience electrified forever. Yet another famous Vainika or the Veena artist is E.Mani Shankara Shastri, who was born in the year 1922 in Andhra Pradesh. He had rigorous training in Veena from his father. After completing his education from Andhra University, he joined the Gemini Studios of Madras as music director. E.Mani Shankara Shastri was the producer of music at the AIR Madras. He was also associated with cultural and academic organizations holding prestigious and top positions in them. He again obtained a doctorate from the Andhra University for his service to music. His students or the disciples include E.Mani Kalyani Lakshmi Narayana, Chitti Babu, V. Saraswati, S.N. Ramachandran, Vishwanathan and many others. Chitti Babu is again a very famous Veena artist. We will now listen to a small clipping of E.Mani Shankara Shastri's Veena playing. A great notable flute artist of South Indian classical music is T.R. Mahalingam. He was born in the year 1926 at Thiruvidai Marudu and was popularly called Mali. He learnt music from his maternal uncle Jalra Gopala Iyer. He started playing flute even at the age of 5. He is said to be the founder of the popular style of flute playing, which is being followed today. He introduced new fingering techniques, a grip on the flute, and had a greater control over the instrument. His disciples were T. Shankaran, N. Ramani, Shankar Rao, N. K.C., who are all again famous flute artists of the present day. His flute playing also led to a redesign of the bamboo flute because his flute had 8 holes and he had to properly and innovate new kind of playing techniques on the instrument. We will now listen to a small clipping of T.R. Mahalingam on his flute. The next artist about him we are going to learn today is Mavelikara Velukutty Nayar. He is a great mridangist born in the year 1926 in Kerala. He learnt his preliminary lessons in mridangam from his father, and then he underwent advanced training from Palkat Mani Iyer in the Gurukula system for a period of 8 years. He served as a teacher and then became the professor and head of the department of mridangam of Sri Swati Tirunal College of Music, Trivandrum. He accompanied concerts for 4 generations of musicians. He is a senior musician and an artist who accompanied right from a small age until his old age. He had performed many concerts as well. T. Vishwanathan, a great flute artist, belongs to the Dhanammal school. He was born in the 1927 in Chennai, and affectionately people call him as Vishwa. He is the grandson of Veena Dhanammal and the brother of Bala Saraswati, the great Bharatanatyam exponent. He learnt playing flute from Tirupamburam Swaminatha Pillai. When Mahalingam used 8-holed flute, Vishwanathan used 7-holed flute. Vishwanathan was awarded the Fulbright Scholarship, and he studied at the University of California and obtained a PhD from the Wesleyan University. He served there for many years. He was also the head of the Department of Indian Music at University of Madras. Vishwanathan has a wide repertoire, and he used to popularize Padam, Javali and Tillana, and these forms are considered to be the property of the Dhanammal school. He had students like T.R. Murthy, John B. Higgins, David Nelson, Anuradha Sriram and many others. Vishwanathan was also awarded a National Heritage Fellowship by the government of United States. We will now listen to a clipping of T. Vishwanathan playing the flute. The famous violinist of South Indian classical music is Lalgudi G. Jayaraman. He was born in the year 1930 in Lalgudi near Tiruchirappalli in Tamil Nadu. He had his early lessons from his father, V.R. Gopal Iyer, who belongs to the lineage of saint musician Tyagaraja. At the age of 12, he started accompanying many great musicians, and he developed his own style of violin playing. It is called as the Lalgudi Bani or the Lalgudi style of violin playing. He was a leading accompanist and as well as a successful solo artist. His son and daughter learnt violin from him, and they also used to perform with him. He had composed many musical compositions for music and also for dance, and these are filled with great emotion, the bhava. Lalgudi Jayaraman has performed in many countries and was highly instrumental in bringing the South Indian classical style of violin playing to the world audience. He went to Russia as a member of Indian cultural delegation by the government. Now let's listen to a small clipping of Lalgudi Jayaraman playing the violin. The next instrumentalist about whom we are going to learn today is Kunnakudi R. Vaidyanathan. He was born in the year 1935 at Kunnakudi in Tamil Nadu. His father was a great scholar and he started his early lessons from him. At the age of 12, Vaidyanathan started performing along with great stalwarts. He performed with Nagaswara Vidwams like T. N. Rajaratnam Pillai, Thiruvenkadu Subramanya Pillai, and later he started to perform solo violin concerts. Vaidyanathan was famous for his fingering techniques on the violin and also the bowing. He took great efforts to see that his music would reach common man and they should understand classical music. So he brought some kind of innovations in his playing so that his music reached the common man and it was appreciated by many. Kunnakudi Vaidyanathan has made a significant contribution to Tamil devotional music as well. He has scored music to many Tamil films. He was strongly associated with the All India Radio. He served as the secretary of the Tamil Nadu EL Isai Nadaga Mandram. He was the secretary of the Tyaga Brahma Sabha at Thiruvayyar in Tanjavur. And one can never forget himself performing and conducting the Tyagaraja Aradhana festival at Thiruvayyar every year. He served as the president of the Raga Research Center at Chennai, which undertakes research on the early ragas of our classical music. Now we shall listen to a small audio clip of Kunnakudi Vaidyanathan playing his violin. The next instrumentalist about whom we are going to know is Chitti Babu. Chitti Babu was born in the year 1936 in Kakinada, Andhra Pradesh. He was a child prodigy who started playing veena at an early age of 5. He gave his first performance at the age of 12. He had his primary lessons from Pandravada Upmakaya and Ayuni Appalacharyulu, and then he learned from E. Mani Shankara Shastri. Chitti Babu has also acted in films and he was a veena player in the film music. He has also composed music for films in Telugu and Kannada. Chitti Babu has travelled across the world for rendering concerts. His fingering and playing techniques are also noteworthy. He used to produce scintillating music from his instrument. Well, in this module, we came to know about many instrumentalists. They were masters on violin, veena, nadaswaram, mridangam, flute, and these people had done a great service to our nation, to the art, that they found some innovations. They created good music. They made the art to be heard to a common man and they took the music worldwide. And this was a period when Carnatic classical music came to be heard, appreciated, and it got propagated throughout the world, and the essence of our art music came to be known to everyone. And the contribution of these instrumentalists, the musicians of South India, are such a great noteworthy one, and we have learned only a brief note about them. For further details on the achievements and the greatness of these artists, we request you to just go through different web links and other reading resources supplied in the 4th quadrant. Thank you.